Hi, everybody. Welcome back. It is time for art. Thank you guys all for joining us again today. Today is Monday, the 16th. It is a draw day. We'll also be doing a little bit of painting. So today you're going to want to make sure you have all your drawing supplies. You want to have your pencil, your journal, and you also want to get what you normally have for painting. So you want your brushes, a little bit of water, paper towels, and your paints. I'm your host. I'm Hershey Petty. Again, thank you so much from all of us at Time for Art for joining us today. I want to give a special welcome to all of the new artists who are joining us this month. We're having such a sweet, sweet time, pardon the pun, with our confections. And also, it's been really great to see the new artists that have been kind of popping up here and there. So thank you so much and welcome. If you are new, we want to say that we also have a subscriber group. So you're here right now on the Time for Art Facebook page, but we also have a Time for Art subscriber group. And we encourage all of our artists to sign up on that group and that's where they post their work. And if you guys haven't, for the artists that have been with us for a little bit, if you guys haven't been to that subscriber page in a little bit, that subscriber group, go there now. I'm going to put a link in the comments so you guys can find it really easy. But the recent activity has been phenomenal, and we encourage you guys to go check it out and see what cool stuff our artists have been posting recently. So, because we do got some new people, just a reminder, and I don't think we need to remind anybody who's been with us for a little bit, but for the new people, just a reminder, this is supposed to be fun, fun, fun. You don't need to keep up with the artist as she's going. You don't need to complete a project before you start a new one. Take this at whatever is easiest for you. So if you like to just follow along and, watch and enjoy and interact with the other artists in the comment section, you're welcome to do that. If you want to follow along and keep up with the artist and do all the things that she's doing when she does it, you're welcome to do that. The only thing we ask is that you post to that subscriber group so we can see all the wonderful work that you're doing. But yeah, it's totally up to you. We meet 2 times a week. The videos of these live streams are available on our Facebook and our YouTube as soon as we're done. So you can go back and hit them up, on a Friday night or whenever you're free, whenever you have time, or you can do it right now with us live. So it's totally up to you. As long as you're having fun, you're doing it right. These live streams are for everyone, whether you are a subscriber or you're new at art or you're a seasoned artist. These live streams, we have such a good time. Invite your friends. Let them, share a link with them. As a matter of fact, right now, if you guys if you can think of one person who would enjoy this kind of, approach to art, go hit those 3 little dots in the top, right? And then go click down on share and share it to somebody so that they can see how much fun we're all having together. So go ahead. And if you love what we're doing here and you want to join in and have all of the fun transfers like that we have and that we work with all month, then you're welcome to subscribe at timeforartsubscriptions.com. So we'll send you in one little box, we'll send you everything you need to make 3 amazing paintings. You've got the paints, the brushes, the canvases, the live streams, the pencil, everything you need. So please let us know if you would like to join the Time for Art subscription. So before we introduce our artists, I want to give a shout out to Cheryl P. Your work is, you continue to impress, and it is a joy to see the work that you posted in the group, and can't wait to see what that inspires in some of our other artists. So thank you very much, Cheryl P. Let's introduce our resident artist, what was I calling her last week? The aficionado, or I can't remember what it was, but let's say hi to Allison Crary. Hi, Al.
Hi, Hershey. Hi, everybody. And yeah, the work on the group, it's not just Cheryl, but Cheryl's work is pretty great. Everybody is posting some really incredible, amazing stuff, and we love it. And thank you so much. It makes this all Hershey and I get really excited about what goes on here, and then we see where you take it to, and we just lose it. We just we can't
we lose
it. Take it how much we love it. So thank you so much for that. Tonight we are drawing the macarons. And Hershey and I were discussing if it was what's the word, fancy, snooty to say macaron. And we decided it wasn't. We're gonna say it. And that debatably a macaroon versus a macaron. Macarons are French, and the macaroons, we think, and if someone knows, please tell us in the comments, are the coconut and sweetened condensed milk puffs that you dip in like chocolate sometimes, and they're really delicious, but they're not these. And so we're gonna call these macarons. And we're actually, Hershey does a really great job of painting his sketches after he does it. So we're going to give this a try at Hershey's suggestion. So we'll get out our paints later. The only two colors you'll need are the scarlet and the cobalt blue. So we'll set that aside. And to start sketching, you're going to need your sketchbooks. You're going to need a pencil. You're going to need both of your grids. We introduced these.
They're so cool.
And your dark graphite paper. And so just to get started, we're going to get your grid onto here. And you want to use your labels, great. If you have a piece of tape, also works. We just give you everything so you're not scrambling. So go ahead and put your grid down in your book. Get out your graphite paper, sticky, shiny side down. And what you're just going to do is you're going to mark off your thirds, your regions. So get your corners in. This is in my way.
Oh, you're using the graphite paper to transfer the grid. That's an excellent.
Well, we're not going to go all out grid. We're just going to get our regions in. But that way it's nice and simple. Just like this.
Al, while you're tracing, I want to share Cheryl P., who I just shouted out. Hi, Cheryl. She wrote in the group, she said that a macaron or French macaroon is a sweet meringue-based confection made with egg white, icing, sugar, granulated sugar, almond meal, and food coloring. The macaron is traditionally held to have been introduced in France by the Italian chef of Queen Catherine de' Medici during the Renaissance.
Whoa, it was a Medici. Yes.
Medici, there you go.
You were close. You were great. I think Medici would make an Italian. Yeah. Yeah. They were great, great patrons of the arts. Absolutely. So I just want to show everyone what we're doing. I am just using the edge of this cardstock that we print these on as my straight edge here. And I am drawing my box. And then I've got my thirds marked off. And then I've got this right here. And in case you can't see them, because sometimes it's hard, let's go ahead and really mark off our thirds on our reference so you can see them. It's tricky because we want to make it really, we don't want to invade the space, but yeah. So, all right. And then I'm going to set this up so everybody can see it just like this. And if you have your grids handy, we can drop these on there as we go to kind of check our work. So in ways, this is a simpler one. And this one is kind of about the magic of color mixing when we get there. And we'll kind of do a little of it this time. But the idea is these kind of all line up in a certain region of our canvas. So they're in line and they're a little wonky, which is the sort of delight of the whole thing. And I'm going to put in sort of this horizontal line that comes across here and comes across here, and then we'll fill in our 6 macarons as we go. So this one, I'd say these both hit almost exactly at the halfway point, maybe a little above, between these 2 thirds. So we're just going to put in a guideline really lightly. Doesn't have to be perfect. Across there. And then I'd say about 1/3 down on both sides. is where these line up on the surface. Just like that. So all of our macarons are going to fit in here. And then from there, we're just going to kind of figure out where these begin and end. And then we'll drop them in as we go. So this first one looks like it goes about halfway, if we're measuring from this edge of the pencil over, halfway between the first third. So if this is about halfway, our first sort of sandwich fits in right here. And I'm just going to go ahead and sort of put that in as sort of this kind of rounded edge. Let's go with the lines I made because that's why we made them. Box right there. All right. Then this next one sort of begins there. They're touching. And I'm going to be measuring from the left side of my pencil as we go. This just exceeds the first third by like a hair. So I'm going to say that's like right here. And if I make a line between those two, that's our next one. And the important thing to realize here is kind of the negative space. It's kind of these sort of, I wouldn't call them triangles, maybe the tops of maybe raindrop shapes in between. We're just going to be aware of that consistent shape that gets replicated. So kind of with this sort of raindrop shape that goes this way on both sides. We'll dig back into this one later. We're going to drop in our second macaron.
All right.
And these first two stand very upright. So those two fit in just like that. And we'll go back in and get these, the in-between spaces. We're just kind of going for placement right now. This one, I'm going to call this one upright too. I'd say if it shifts a little, it leans a little to the right. And the center.
Are they touching, Al, or no?
Everything's touching to my knowledge, if you take a look, right?
Yeah.
I think everything touches, it's just they kind of shimmy.
Yeah.
Some of them do. And so this one I'd say leans a little bit to the right. I'd say these next three do. And then the third, and then the fourth one here of the next ones we haven't done, or the sixth one, if we're counting all of them, stands upright again. So this one, and I would say the center point here is almost exactly the center of our middle third. So we'll put in a line right here. Drop that line. And I'm just going to shift these ever so slightly, leaning right. So that's that one. This one definitely, these next two definitely lean to the right.
Mm-hmm.
And this one ends, so we're measuring from the left side of the pencil. This one ends exactly, and I'm going with this mark on top right here, at this third mark right here. And that's this point right here. And I'd say this one is kind of on an axis, a 15-degree axis maybe. And so this one will angle this way. Just like that. Then this one hits this top mark right here, hits almost right in the middle again. So if we find the middle third of this last third right here, also leans very much to the right. So this is going to come around this way. And then this last one, if you look, ends with just the smallest margin, doesn't touch the edge like the first one does. So that's going to end right here. And this one stands up straight.
Yeah.
Again. Right here. All right, so this is a good basic. I'm going to get rid of our sketchy lines. People are very critical of the hairy fuzzies. I'd say as you go on, you make less and less kind of sketchy hairy fuzzies, but it's part of it. And if you do a good job of kind of taking them out as you go.
The hairy fuzzies are the guidelines?
Or just these like this. Like, what is that?
Oh, yeah.
Your guidelines are always going to be the way to go. But I've been doing this a long time and I still do it. So I wouldn't worry too much about it. But I like to, if I'm going to do some of that. Yeah, if I'm going to do some of whatever.
Especially if you're going to paint it, those fuzzies go away.
Yeah, it's just about sort of just being more economical about the lines you use. And there's just sort of a discipline about that. But my answer to that is, if you're going to do some of that, because that's just sort of your natural way of drawing, just go through and take them out as you go. So that's what I'm doing. All right. So let's put in our centers. And our centers here, the ones I'd like to start with are these lines right here that are the farthest out. So the way these macarons go, they have this kind of smooth area, and then they have this kind of crinkle area, and then there's the frosting in between. So we're going to put in the lines between the smooth and the crinkle area. So it's this one and this one, 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 and this one. And we'll do the filling separately. So on our first one, I'm going to go, this one's very upright. So just like this. And it's this kind of very specific shoulder sort of on these, where it's almost a perfect like hamburger bun curve.
Yeah, it is.
If you're thinking of like the Hamburglar. Actually, some people have looked at this painting and been like, burgers. And I'm like, no. But that's okay, because that's kind of the shape. So, you know, it's just someone who maybe hasn't had macarons. So same thing here. I'm going to put in these lines right here, a little narrow. And same thing, we're going to get this kind of very specific shoulder in, just like that. This one starts to lean just the littlest bit. Just like this. Or hairy fuzzies.
These are beautiful cookies.
Aren't they?
Yeah.
Beautiful French patisserie that moved in a few doors down from me here. And it's just, they do this kind of thing and everything tastes perfect and is perfect. The next time you come see me, Hershey will have to go. It's just, yes. All right.
Like, it's not enough to make everything taste beautiful. They also make it look beautiful too. And I just really appreciate that next level, you know?
Oh, and it's like everything's really fresh and they studied in France and just, yeah, the best. Okay, so this one, same thing, but we are considerably more leaning to the right. So like this. And actually, before I do the other ones, I'm going to put the same ones because this kind of echoes into this one over here. And we'll go ahead and draw in our burgers with the very specific shoulders. Just like that. How are our comments going besides Cheryl's super awesome one that taught us about macarons?
Actually, she wrote a little bit more that I wanted to share with you. she kind of broke it down that the difference is really because they're both made with the egg whites, the sugar, and the drops of vanilla with a pinch of salt. But macarons are typically made with a finely ground blanched almonds.
Okay.
And then the macaroons are made with sweetened flake coconut.
So they're actually of the same.
Yeah, they're made pretty similar with the
discipline.
same base. Yeah.
Interesting. Super. I had no idea.
So.
And then this one stands up straight again. And doesn't go all the way to the edge. And if yours goes to the edge, big deal. But it's a little bit of information, and I'm going to try and a little bit of accuracy there. And also, if at any point you're like, you know what, I don't want to draw this, I want to draw something else, and you want to hang out with us.
Yeah.
Love it.
Right. Yeah. You know what I like about these, this drawing, something that I just noticed too, is that especially with that red one there, you can see more of the side.
Yes.
You
Yes.
know?
All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and like, so this one is a little bit off if you look at mine. And I'm gonna correct that. So this one, this line kind of comes through here. And this is more like this. And then this. It's more like that. I'm just kind of checking some of my depths here.
I'm going to share.
And then before we move forward, let's drop our grids and take a look at how everything lines up. And I'd say looking pretty good. We have, I'd say my teardrop's a little off here. There's a little bit more of a gap between these two, are kind of up and down teardrop shapes right here. Same thing down here. So I'd say I need a little bit more. Mine are kind of in the reference, they kind of just kiss on top, and I have them kind of touching all the way down. Yeah. But otherwise, I'm pretty close. Hershey, how are yours looking?
Mine look really great. I can already kind of see them, you know, like see everything. Yeah.
And this is a really good one because once we get these in, because we're almost there, we should have plenty of time to kind of sketchy paint these in.
Yeah.
Which is the idea. All right, so I'd say the next thing we want to do is kind of draw in our frosting, and the in-between will be the kind of in-between layer, right? Mm-hmm. So our frosting on this one, I'm going from, the grid's off. I'm going from this line to this line. Comes in just like this. And it looks like it was done with one of those fluted piping bags that has kind of the star shape. Mm-hmm. And so our frosting kind of has this dark line that kind of comes around this way and then catches back up again up there. Clean that up. On this one, it comes in again, just like this. And in this case, that sort of fluted area is right in the middle. And kind of begins and ends here. Remember, this would be dark on either side of that. Right here, similar line. It's going to echo or be parallel to the lines on the sides. Like this, and that line, that kind of fluted line is right here. over here. It's gonna echo the same lines. This one's got the tilt to it. And we don't really get that fluted line on this one. And really the rest of these. So it's apparent on these first three, but it doesn't really hit on these. Same thing over here. That in between sits right in here like this. And then this is the tightest one. It's got kind of the smallest frosting line. And again, this one sits more upright. Just like that.
There you go.
All right. So I'm just going to kind of, again, do some cleanup. Any place I've got some stray marks, I'm going to take them out. And then kind of last but not least, before we get our paints out, kind of cap off anything because they've sort of ended up on a straight line, are these kind of dark crinklies. I'm just going to kind of drop in where those go on here. So on this first one, there's a few dark marks in here, over here, kind of along the edge. And then we're just going to kind of lightly shade in this dark area right here. And then we'll put in our other, kind of going for the darkest darks, and then we'll fill in some halftone, and then we'll do some painting. There's this line in the middle of kind of fluted area, and here this part is kind of dark up to there and kind of along this edge over here.
How are you doing the crinkly? Are you just kind of shading it in?
Yeah, I'm just kind of picking up sort of the shapes of it. So this one's kind of dark along the edges, and I'm just filling that in, and then we'll mix a little paint. On these two, there's a little bit of a cast shadow from this onto here, right here. Same thing here, a little bit of a cast shadow here. There's this kind of dark mark right there. On this one, there's this line right here. It's heavy on this line right here, the shadow. Up and in here, around here. Down here. Along this line. A little bit of darkness on this edge. Just like that. For here, we get a little bit of shaping right here. This line gets kind of dark. There's kind of crinklies all along here. Definitely along both sides of this frosting line, get a little heavier. Such right here.
Have you ever made a macaron?
No, I have dear friends that make them though.
Okay. It seems
And
difficult.
it's there's a lot of steps, and even like the depth of the bowl matters. Like how much you put in and how cold the bowl is. And
Wow.
some things are just kind of beyond my scope. My cousin Jolene and I love to make Christmas cookies, and we do a sandwich cookie that we're really proud of. Have I sent you the sandwich?
I've had them. I think you send them to me, and I've also been there for Christmas when to eat them.
Yes, yeah. And so we think those are hard. Not even begin to be as hard as this would be. Okay, so there's definitely kind of a heavy shadow right here. Dark along this edge. Dark along this edge. Along here. along this line and down here. And right here, it's going to be dark on this edge right here and around on this edge right here. The filling is dark all the way through. Dark along this edge. Right here, up and along here. And we get a little bit of shaping. All right, so we have our darkest darks in. We kind of want to fill in the next layer. Kind of dark along here. And I'm just kind of being loose about these.
Willy-nilly.
Willy-nilly, but you know, certain degree of accuracy to what I'm doing. Along here, this area, here. Here. We're going to paint these on Wednesday if you're joining us for one of your first times. How does everyone feel about drawing the same week as painting? What's that, Hershey?
Made them larger as well.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It gets
On
bigger.
canvas.
It's really cool
Yeah.
when they get bigger.
And
what was the question to the group?
how do we like painting the same week we draw the image? So before we would do 2 drawings in one night, and now we're drawing in our sketchbooks the same week before we paint. And I'm just interested in how people feel.
Yeah. Say, you know, and also we last week we did not paint our drawings. Our Monday drawings we didn't paint, and we used our pencils to make the different tones, the light, the medium, the
values,
the values, thank you. And I think there's a lot of value to that as well. So if there's, you know, just to getting your eyes to like see those tones and those values instead of just using color to actually have to figure it out with the pencil, I think is a really cool skill. So I would be interested to know from the group if you would prefer to just draw and paint on Mondays.
Yeah, and so we're figuring it out. We're giving something new a try though. And then last but not least, there's these cast shadows onto this surface. It might be a countertop. I think it's probably fancy food photography. How to take backgrounds out of things. But you get a little bit of shadow, and there's just a little bit of shadow that kind of on the footprint of all of these. And there you have it. There's your macarons sketch. I think it looks really great.
Agree. So Al, question is, are these made with a finely ground almond meal or is this made with the coconut?
These are the almond, I believe.
Okay. Right, macarons.
Be true. And with a kind of buttercream or jam filling.
Ooh, okay.
Could be either one. All right. So for quickie color mixing, let's try background first. Get out some white. Drop it in the middle. Drop it in one of your wells. And I'd say this top part, it looks kind of green in this. There wasn't any yellow used in this, so that's just how it printed. We're going to do a speck of blue, and we're going to do a speck of blue and a speck of red. And some white. And that as well. And we're going to mix using my big brush. We're going to mix this guy first. And we'll mix this one second. Hershey, I feel like I did all these paintings in California. I feel like you came over when I was making this particular painting.
I did.
Does that sound right?
Yes, it does. I did come over when you were making this painting, and I took several of your samples home.
Yeah.
And they still decorate my place in Long Beach.
In Long Beach. And little did we know this is where this would
I know if we could have fast forwarded
Yeah.
in the future and seen us right now, if they could see
Yeah.
us now.
All right. So I'm just painting in the lavender color.
Will you go back real quick? It was a red and the blue made of purple, add white.
Yep. And then just blue and white.
Okay, gotcha.
All right. And then we're kind of blue and white on top. Now, this is a good little teaser for what's coming.
Oh yeah.
And I'm using a lot of water because I want my sketch to show through. I'm not interested in covering these lines for this particular exercise.
Hey, so a couple things I want to share with you from the comment section.
Excellent.
The comment section is pretty active today. Thank you,
Awesome.
artists. The first is that taking the time to do one drawing at a time is really helpful to some of the artists.
Excellent.
And also I think they like the knowledge that comes with learning how to the values with just the pencil. So maybe we'll, go back to that if you like. And then Cheryl actually wanted to know that when you were making this, did you actually have cookies out in front of you, or did this come out of just something that you were imagining?
This was a stock image that I found somewhere and did something with. So no cookies in front of me, but good question. And then, okay, so we had the light, and then I'm going to add a little more blue to this first one. And that's going to be our shadows.
If my lavender is too blue, I just add a little more red, right?
Yeah, or don't worry about it because we're just kind of filling it in. All right, and this same blue that's just the blue and white, that's also going to kind of be the color for this first one. So I'm just going to kind of paint over this like that and leave it alone for a moment. So this next one is kind of a straight up purple. So that should be, not all colors were created equal, but I think these hopefully are close. So let's try equal parts and see what we get. Equal parts cobalt blue and scarlet. Yeah. Look at that.
Yeah, that's a nice color.
Add a little white. Water it down because we don't want to cover up our lines. That went on a little strong. So often I do this. If I'm trying to if I just want to go for washes and it goes in a little heavy, I'm just going to dab some of that off.
What are you using there? Was that
Paper.
just a
It could be paper towel. This is paper, but yeah, paper towel is actually probably better. Just like that. This one gets a little bit more lilac. So I'm going to take this color and add a smidge, a fleck of scarlet to it. Maybe a little bit more than that. And we're going to fill this guy in. It's subtly different than what was before it. This next one, pretty much straight up scarlet. Add a little white. Get this really beautiful strawberry color.
2 colors in white for all these beautiful macarons. That's incredible.
These are analogous colors. So they're next to each other on the color wheel. So this is blue and red and everything in between.
Some pretty important colors. They make so much.
Yeah. So that's fun.
Wanted to say, Al, we were talking before we started. So there was an artist who had posted one time in the group, and they said, going out of my comfort zone and being brave and posting and whatnot. And, because it is a little bit nerve wracking to put your art out there in the subscriber group. But today I was going through some of the comments, and like, our artists are so supportive of each other.
Oh, we have the best.
Yes.
Group. All right. So I had too much white going on here, so don't do that. We're going to do no white, scarlet, and a speck of blue. And that's going to give us this kind of raspberry color that we have going on in here. Yeah, that's the color I wanted. So usually, and I don't want to say usually, maybe this is my lens, but usually when you add white to most colors, you kind of see where it started. I feel like pink, when you add white to red, like makes its own color. It's not just a red. And so in this case, it's a good example of white in this really messed up this kind of raspberry color that we have going on here.
Yeah. You're right. Pink is its own thing.
Pink is its own thing, and I don't have a reason for it. Just my lens, kind of. And then this last one is almost straight up cobalt blue with some white.
Well, you think about it, Allison, there's no color called light red.
That's the thing.
Light blue, there's light green, there's light whatever, but light red, that's not a color, it's pink.
Color. Yeah. So this one is the cobalt blue with a touch of white and a touch of this raspberry color. And that's what just kind of gives it this sort of deep, but mostly blue. And that's all the color mixing for these guys. And then when we paint this on Wednesday, these center colors are kind of that existing color plus blue, because the blue doesn't just make it deeper. I'm going to switch to my smaller brush. I'm going to sharpen it. But it makes it cooler. Especially in this one, our cooler colors are in the recessed areas. So if we go back into this one, it's this color kind of plus this deeper color. We'll add some just straight up blue to that. So if we just kind of want to, with a very sharp brush, kind of just paint in our darks. I say it every time. It is always easier to pull a line than
it is to push one.
So that's that one. This color right here, I'm going to add a little of this dark blue to it. And hit my darks. And we'll mix these a little bit more carefully come
Wednesday,
but we're just kind of playing around, seeing what we get. Just like that. Same thing here. We're going to take some of this blue, drop it in here for this kind of lilac colored one. Hit our darks. Just like that. Take some of this blue, work it into our red. These little areas. Not sure that's dark enough. I'm gonna go back and look a little bit more red. This is just a sketch.
This is practice.
It's practice. So this kind of comes along like this. Over here. Just like that. Our dark raspberry color. kind of adding all the elements back in there. Dark along here, along here, along here. Just like that. And then our dark blue we've been working with. Dark here, dark here, dark here, along here. Like that. I'm going to kind of reinforce some of our shadows.
The extra water on the brush makes it so easy to work with that paint. It just goes on so smooth.
Yeah, and it works really well for just a sketch like this. And then last but not least, with the white you put in the middle, we're just going to hit our highlights for this exercise, just all in white. So our highlight here, over
Oh,
here.
Ruth wanted to know what was going on the top half, and I don't know if she saw that you did like a light blue wash.
This is light
right?
blue. Yeah, this is blue. This is cobalt blue and white. Good question if you didn't see that. Here, reflected light. Just like that, right here. Just like that. Over here. Over here. Here. And there we go. That's
Wow. I haven't been keeping up, so I'm a little bit behind, and I am impressed.
And so something else you can do if you're interested is to kind of let this dry because we've got a lot of water going on.
Mm-hmm.
And then just kind of clean up some of these lines. But I'm kind of the opinion, don't. This was a sketch. We kept it loose.
Yeah.
I like it that way.
Like really, I guess the point of Mondays is to get familiar with the,
exactly.
Because on Wednesday, we're going to really do it up.
We're going to in detail mix all these colors and get into it. And you're going to have a really successful painting. But we kind of practiced today. And it's always important to us that you are learning drawing as you learn painting, but that you don't have to have drawn something to perfection to get a really successful painting. So this is a painting, a small painting that you did in your sketchbook completely from scratch that you have to guide you. And then if you want to draw on your 8x10 canvas on a separate sheet of paper or right on the canvas and paint on that, always a good idea. It's just, we also provide the outline. So
right.
You're never stuck there.
So yeah. Have fun.
Yeah. Well, I think we're wrapping up a little early this time,
okay.
Which is great.
Awesome.
We got everything in. Announcements next week or next Wednesday is going to be our paint day with, we're going to paint this on our canvas. Caught with your hands this Wednesday. Yeah. Caught with your hands in the cookie jar is our theme, and they are awesome.
Yeah, they are. We've already got some. That's also in the subscriber group. So if you haven't had gone over there, check it out.
Yeah. Where we thought it wouldn't, it would be too hard. How wrong we were. It's too cool. And what else? We have
the template challenge is due on the 20th. Don't forget.
On the 20th. So a week from Friday.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, everybody check out what's in the subscriber group. It's too cool. It's looking good. And we can't thank you enough for sharing. Well, that wraps up tonight. We'll see you on Wednesday. Thanks for joining us. And
thank you, Allison.
We'll see you on Wednesday.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.